Why do I hate myself so much?
Why do I hate myself so much? It's not a question we often say out loud. It's the quiet whisper in the mirror before bed, the ache in your chest when everyone's laughing and you're pretending, the shame that creeps in after success telling you, you don't deserve this. Why do I hate myself? Why does my mind treat me like an enemy? You are not alone in asking this. In fact, some of the greatest minds in history, philosophers, poets, mystics, ask the same thing. And their answers may be the light you've been looking for. So for the next few minutes, I want you to sit with this question, not to run from it, but to understand it. Because only when we understand where the wound is, can we begin to heal. The ancient origins of self-hate. Let's go back, way back, to ancient Greece. Socrates once said, "Know thyself." But what happens when the self you come to know is someone you despise? In Plato's dialogues, there is a warning that when our soul is at war with itself, we suffer. We become divided, torn. One part desires to grow, love, and live. The other whispers, "You're not good enough." This inner division is not new. In fact, it's deeply human. The Stoics, like Seneca, saw this clearly. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, he wrote. Why? Because our minds conjure monsters from our past. We believe our worst thoughts without proof. We imprison ourselves in guilt, regret, shame. And the worst part, we confuse our thoughts with truth. But the Stoics also believed in power, not external power, but inner strength, the power to choose your response, the power to say, that thought, it's not me. Nietzsche and the abyss within. Now we step into darker territory with Friedrich Nietzsche, a man who didn't run from despair. He walked into it, lived in it. He wrote, "When you stare into the abyss stares back into you." For Nietzsche, self-hate wasn't weakness. It was a symptom of something deeper, a world without meaning. He saw people trapped in systems, religions, ideologies, not because they loved them, but because they were afraid of freedom, afraid of responsibility, afraid of facing the chaos within. And when you live a life that's not truly yours, when you chase dreams that aren't aligned with your soul, when you lie to yourself just to fit in, the result is self-hatred. But Nietzsche didn't leave us in the abyss. He gave us the idea of the Übermensch, the one who rises above, who takes his pain and builds meaning, not by running from suffering, but by turning it into strength. Buddhism and the illusion of the self. Now let's go east. Buddha didn't talk about self-hate because he questioned the self entirely. According to Buddhist thought, the self you hate is an illusion. It's a story, a bundle of memories, expectations, failures, and roles. You hate a version of yourself that isn't even real. Think about that. You're at war with a ghost. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from attachment, especially attachment to identity. We cling to labels. I'm a failure. I'm broken. I'm not enough. But what if you are none of those things? What if you are simply aware? Meditation, mindfulness, compassion, these aren't just buzzwords. They are weapons, tools to pierce the illusion, to witness your pain without becoming it. And in that witnessing, something magical happens. You begin to soften, to accept, to love. Modern psychology joins the conversation. Now let's come closer to our time. Carl Jung, one of the fathers of modern psychology, said this: "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." Why? Because deep down we all carry a shadow, a dark side, parts of ourselves we reject, repress, deny. And the more we run from the shadow, the more power it has over us. Self-hate is often just our shadow knocking, begging to be seen, to be loved. But what do? We push it down. We shame ourselves for our anger, our envy, our need. And in doing so, we build walls inside. But Jung had a different idea. He said healing begins when we integrate, when we say, yes, I have darkness. Yes, I have light. I am both. You are not meant to be perfect. You are meant to be whole. And when you accept your shadow, not as a flaw, but as a feature, you begin to reclaim your power. The real root: trauma, guilt, and internalized voices. Let's go deeper. Why do we hate ourselves? Sometimes it's not even our voice. It's the voice of a parent who never saw us, a teacher who shamed us, a bully who broke us, and now that voice lives inside us. We become our own jailer, repeating the pain, reinforcing the lie. Sometimes it's trauma, moments when we were helpless, moments when we learned, I must be bad, I must be wrong, I must be unlovable. But here's the thing. You didn't cause that pain. You adapted to survive it. Hating yourself was a survival strategy. If you blamed yourself, you could make sense of the chaos. You could hold on to some illusion of control, but you're not that helpless child anymore. You're here, listening, ready. It's time to release the shame that was never yours to carry. Breaking the cycle, the way out. So how do you stop hating yourself? How do you climb out of this pit? Speak the truth. Say it out loud. I hate myself, not to drown in it, but to expose it, because the moment you name it, it loses some power. Question the voice. Whose voice is this? Is it really yours? What evidence supports it? What would you say to a friend who said the same thing? Start small acts of self-respect, not self-love. That might feel too far. Start with respect. Eat one nourishing meal, take one walk, clean one room. Each act becomes a brick, and slowly you build a home inside yourself, a place where you are safe, a place where you belong. Forgive yourself, not because you're perfect, but because you're human. You did the best you could with what you knew, and now you're learning. That's enough. You are worth saving. Let me tell you this, you are not broken. You are breaking open. You are not your worst thought. You are the awareness behind it. You are not weak for feeling despair. You are brave for facing it. And no matter what you've done, no matter how long you've hated yourself, you can begin again. The philosophers didn't agree on everything, but they all knew this. A life examined is a life worth living. So examine, feel, heal. You are not the enemy. You are the answer. Thank you for being here. Now go live like you're worthy, because you are.